Well, hello everybody, BugEater64 here, and we are getting ready today to fly the FlyJSims Boeing 727, and we're going to be flying from KVCV in Victorville, California, out to KDFW, Dallas-Fort Worth International. And with that, let's get inside the aircraft and let's see what goes on. The 727, the new version that I recently updated to, is supposed to be usable in X-Plane 12. So we're going to see how that works. Unfortunately, everything I have read in the forums and so on, and there are some bugs that FlyJSim is working on. So I'm sure they'll be fixed soon, but they're there. And a major bug is the fact that when you start the aircraft to get it going, you cannot get the generators to turn on for internal power to the aircraft. You can run everything through the APU and it works fine. So today what I'm going to do is, since we can't get the generators to turn on using the techniques and the procedures the way you're supposed to, I'm going to see if I can do a workaround. So we're going to try that and see how it goes. Hope you enjoy the ride. So we'll see you inside. Let's get going. Alright, well, we've got external power already on and we're flying the FlyJSim Boeing 727. This is the Pro Series, the 100 version 3.31 in X-Plane 12 version 06 beta 7. So we'll get inside now. The 727, I've flew this aircraft in X-Plane 11 and really enjoyed it. It's been probably a couple of years since I flew it, but this is the version that's supposed to have been updated and for X-Plane 12. I just updated it from xplane.org store, but it's got some issues. So, and we're going to go ahead through this, get things started. Like I said, we've got the ground power already hooked up, so battery on, external power, so we've got everything lit up. And we're going to see if we can do this flight. We're going to be going from KVCV to KDFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's just over 1,000 miles. And we're using a flight plan I did on SimBrief. So we're going to go ahead and look at this. Okay, data's out of date. Yeah, situation normal. So let's go to our route. We'll go to there. There's our flight set up in SimBrief. So we'll go ahead and get this all taken care of. Let's start. We're taking off from runway 17. We don't have any SIDS or anything, so we'll go back, and our arrival is going to be to runway 36 left. Look at our stars, and there we go. So 4 and Allen. Okay, so let's look at the legs here. Get rid of our discontinuities. Okay. Yeah, we're not doing the vectors, so there we go. Okay. You don't see any altitudes yet because we haven't done our VNAV portion. And should 23,000 feet is going to be our cruising altitude today. Alright. Okay, cruising altitude 230, flight level. And let's see, speed, we're going to go for 280. Okay, 0.64 Mach. And we'll double check our engine setup here shortly. Okay. Alright, so everything's set up. CJX 700 is our flight number. Okay, so let's double check our card here. EPR, which is, we'll double check on the 3 engines. N1 for takeoff will be 97.5. And if you look right up here, our pressure ratio, it says 2.6. It's already set, so that's good. 97.5 on our N1 is going to be right where the green meets the yellow on the N1 gauge. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the APU started. Hold it up for about 3 to 5 seconds and we'll see that little needle down there start to move right there, and we'll start to hear the APU start up. And once the APU gets up and running, you'll see the electrical power for the external power will shut off automatically right there. Yep, it's not quite up yet. It's gotta get, that needle has to get just over 5 and then it'll start to drop right in here. So there it goes. And once it starts to drop, then we can, so external power should be off. Which it is. So we'll disconnect that. Okay, so let's get all the fuel. Double check our checklist here. Okay, check our shaker. Stall. Warning. Window heat. All 4 lights. Emergency lights armed. And no smoking and seatbelt signs fastened. Now we're on. Okay. Go ahead and turn our okay, so this is looking okay. Looks like we're ready to start engines. This is where we'll highlight one of the issues with this new version of the 727. It's a bit of a bug, so we got our beacon on, let people know what we're doing. Okay, now you look at the N1 up there and it just jumps. It usually takes, we want it to get to N1 rating of 20, then we introduce fuel. What these gauges do now is they just jump up to about 30. So and once there's 3 lights down there, that's the hydraulics and so on. Once that light turns off, we can start the next engine. We're going to go ahead and set our trim. Let's get engine number 2 started. And you see just how fast that bounces up. And it shouldn't be going that fast. And it didn't used to. In the older version, it would actually take time to spool up. But in this, it just jumps right up there. So either it's a bug in this particular module, or I've done something wrong. So, engine number 1 finally. And we'll introduce fuel. So we've got 3 good engines. Okay, so gonna double check our trim. Flaps are going to be 20. Trim set at 5.19. Okay. And okay. And this is the big bug. Can't turn on the generators for internal power. They won't just switch on. So what I have to do is apply thrust while I'm parked here and let it get to a point, and this is how I found to get the internal power to work. Normally I would switch those over and turn off the APU. Well, I can't turn off the APU until later. So we'll let these engines warm up, spool up a little bit. Nada. Okay. They still won't turn on. And I guess I really should have turned on the fuel pumps a long time ago. Okay, we got that taken care of now. Alright, next thing is we're gonna turn off the engine 2 bleed system along with the APU bleed. Turn on the secondary hydraulic system. And we got our PAX air on. Let's give it some more throttle here. Galley power on. And you see they're still not turning on, and it's really important if I'm going to make this flight of over 1,000 miles, I need that internal power. Otherwise, things just aren't going to work. Alright, let's get the weather on. Okay, so weather radar is working. Speed brakes are down. Okay, so going to go ahead and start our taxi here. So parking brake is off. Taxi lights on. Runway turnoff lights on. Heato heat on. Okay, so we'll start our taxi down to runway 17. And once we get down to the, let's see, will these kick on now by any chance? No? Okay. Not happening. Well, we're going to keep the APU running until we can get those turned on. Okay, we'll get down to the end runway and we'll finish up our configuration, get it ready for takeoff. And that's why I wait till I stop usually to try to do something, because this is a three crew member aircraft to fly. Just like my even older DC-6 that I fly in the simulation. Only with the DC-6 I have an AI assistant. In this one, not really. So when you're trying to do something, if you're taxiing and you're trying to do something with the flight engineer's position, that sometimes can be problematic trying to keep it on a straight line down the taxiway. So usually don't do that. And KVCV is the airport's name is Goodyear, and it's in out near Victorville, California. So We're going to be going from the west here out to Dallas Fort Worth International, KDFW. So like I said, it's just over 1,000 miles. Normally the APU would be already turned off, but I need the APU just to have any electricity other than battery until we can get out here and see if we can get those generators on. Because without those generators, a lot of my systems aren't going to be working. Okay, approaching the stop short line for runway 17. And we'll go ahead and see if we can finish our setup for takeoff. So park and brake on to hold us here while we do some work. Okay, so that's on. And turn off the taxi and runway turn off lights. And since we don't have the generators working, as you can see, some of our pitos are not energized. Okay, so auto brakes are for reject takeoff if need be. Still not able to get that started, so we're going to have to either we get those things started add more power. See if we can get it to the point where it'll, there we go. All right. So the generators have come online. So my front panel lights and so on should be working. They are. Everything looks good there. So let's see about getting takeoff. And they're off again because I lowered the RPMs. Here we go. Come on. All right. So this is going to be a rolling takeoff because I want to keep the power up and get in the air. Here we go. Nose wheel steering turned off. Power 50%. Now going to 97.5. Check.
E1. Rotate.
And rotate. Okay, we have positive rate. Get up a little bit. Gear up. And at this point we can turn off the APU. Fly this bird. Everything is looking good. We've got internal power, so you can fly this aircraft. Start bringing the flaps up, even though it's got that real electric power glitch in it. There is a workaround. It's not right by any means, but it does make it possible to fly this airplane. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so we got the autopilot set up and it's on. It does some weird stuff though with the trim. It just but it seems to be working. Once it gets going, it'll slam that trim needle all the way forward, which I don't get. But as long as it works, I can accept it. Okay, climbing at about close to 1,500 feet a minute. All lights are off. That's a good sign. Everything looks good here. All right. So now it's just a matter of getting up to altitude, and then we'll be cruising at 23,000 feet. This is very much a hands-on aircraft, even though it does not have an auto throttle per se. And that's why we use the indicated airspeed. Good portion of the flight. Okay, and we'll got the landing gear to the neutral position. And we'll get the flaps up. Okay, so flaps are up. Let's double check. Alright. Packs are all okay. Oh, yeah, let's check our pressures. 23,000. For the climb, we bring the N1 from 97.5, which we use on takeoff, down to about 92. Okay, so that should be good to go until we start descent. And it is following our flight plan. Okay, now wasn't that fun? A bloody power outage. Um, what you didn't get to see is that we had the flight and it was going along great. I was getting ready, we were getting ready to start our descent. The flight had gone exceptionally well. Everything was looking just fine. Our fuel usage, everything was looking good, and we had started our descent into Dallas Fort Worth. And then all of a sudden there was a bolt or lightning nearby or something happened, but there was a total power outage that wiped out everything. So unfortunately we weren't able to complete the flight. But the biggest point and the most important thing about this particular flight was going to be showing that the electrical system can be used. It just takes a little finagling and kind of, circumventing the proper procedures to get that power on board. And we'll see how it goes. Can only hope that FlyJSims fixes the bugs. The bugs aren't insurmountable, but they're there, and they really shouldn't be. So I hope you enjoyed this look at starting up the 727 in X-Plane 12 and getting her into the air. And so until next time, this is Bug Eater 64, and as always, please remember, safe flying.